Now, I'm going to be honest right now. I don't have SHAUN placing ahead of Cbum. I think when it comes down to it, I don't think CLARIDA can place ahead of Martin Fitzwater. So I'm narrowing it down to who I think is going to be in the top two. In pose for pose, who's winning each pose. All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of Muscle Discord. And I want to jump on this since Cbum is doing the Prague Pro show in less than 3 weeks from now. Big news. He's doing the show. He's going in open. We've all been waiting for this. And he's going to be going toe-to-toe with Martin Fitzwater. Now, also, I want to make mention that SHAUN CLARIDA is also doing the show. So shout out to SHAUN for jumping in an open show again. SHAUN ain't no joke. He's two-time 212 Mr. Olympia champ. So this is a great show for Chris to test the waters here. See how he does. Now, I'm going to be honest right now. I don't have SHAUN placing ahead of Cbum. I think when it comes down to it, I don't think SHAUN CLARIDA can place ahead of Martin Fitzwater. So I'm narrowing it down to who I think is going to be in the top two. In pose for pose, who's winning each pose. Because that's how Tyler Mannion likes to do it. He likes to break it down pose for pose. So I'm going to break it down pose for pose. And we're going to see who's winning each pose. In my opinion, of course. This is all for fun. Of course. It's my opinion. It's what I think is correct for each pose. Now, they don't all hit the same poses because Chris only hits a few of the bodybuilding poses in Classic. So we can only compare some of the poses, unfortunately. They didn't have an ab and thigh of Chris for some reason in the NPC Online photo. Like, what's okay? Missing out some shots here, but anyways. So we're going to work with what we got and dig into pose for pose. So first off, front double bicep. Now, looking at this shot, you have to go, okay, head to toe, symmetry-wise, the symmetry round, who's winning that pose, symmetry-wise? I would actually have to say Martin Fitzwater, symmetry-wise, wins his pose. And Martin also has a tiny waist, so he's almost got a classic look to him. And he also hits classic shots. So this is actually an extremely good matchup because Martin, not saying he has a classic looking physique, but he can pull off some classic poses because his waist is so tiny. It works for him. Like he's almost pulling a better vacuum than Cbum here. So this is the perfect matchup in Prague. This is an exciting show. This is great for bodybuilding that this is happening. Now you look at what is this pose? This is the front double bicep. So what are we looking for in this shot? We're looking at how well the biceps match up alongside the rest of the body for a full package physique. And then what's the next thing we want to look at? Muscularity. Well, who's got the most muscle in this pose? That goes to Martin Fitzwater. Okay, and what's the next criteria? Conditioning. Well, I would say, to be honest, Cbum is more conditioned in this pose. But then you also look at Cbum's biceps, you look at his muscularity, and you look at the symmetry. I think out of the three criteria, symmetry, right? Muscularity and conditioning, Martin wins 2 out of those categories, out of those 3 categories. Okay, so Martin Fitzwater wins the front double bicep pose. I know maybe a lot of you might not agree with that. Leave a comment below if you agree or disagree with each pose that I'm giving each guy. All right. On to the next. Big shot here, back double bicep. Again, let's go through the criteria. Symmetry, best symmetry in this pose. Now, Chris has good symmetry in this pose. I think Martin can benefit from not leaning back so much in this pose. I think he needs to stand up a little bit more straight like Cbum's doing it, like the GOAT is doing it. I don't know why he's doing it, because he loses a lot of the lighting on his back. When you're down, you're casting more of a shadow on your back. So Martin Fitzwater, if you're watching my show, I'm sure you're watching, you always watch my shows. Stand up more straight when you're doing this. Now, symmetry-wise, I think Cbum wins the symmetry in this because he's displaying his physique better to show off the symmetry. Unfortunately, this is what the judges see at that time, is how you present your physique. And Martin is not doing the best job there. With muscularity, who's winning the most muscularity round? Obviously, Martin Fitzwater. He's got more muscle. The hamstrings, the glutes are thicker. The back is more big and round. And because he's not displaying it, you're missing a little bit, but it's actually much bigger and thicker. So Martin is winning the muscularity round, not the symmetry round here, in my opinion. Conditioning round, or category, if you want to call it. I give this, this is tough now, guys, because Cbum's back looks more conditioned, and the delts look more conditioned, and the triceps you can see are more conditioned. But the hamstrings and glutes go to Martin Fitzwater here for the conditioning. So I give Cbum the symmetry. I give Martin the muscularity, and Martin has this tiny, tiny edge on the conditioning of this overall pose. So that's 2 shots for Martin, 0 for Cbum. With the poses that we got to work with here, because we don't have all the mandatories here. Front and lat spread. Now, again, symmetry, this goes to Cbum, okay? Conditioning, Cbum. Muscularity, Martin Fitzwater. This is an easy one for me to do because this is the GOAT shot. We know this. So Cbum gets 1 there now on the front lat spread. This is an easy pose to judge when someone is so dominant in it like Cbum is. Next, side chest. This is a tough one between the two of these. Right? If you're a judge, the judging is not easy. So hats off to the judges when they got to put this shit together and try and figure it out on the fly. It's not easy. I have all the time in the world to figure this out. They have like restricted time to do this. So side chest. Okay. Again, the criteria, muscularity. Well, let's go symmetry first. They both have good symmetry in this. I am not going to lie. They both have good symmetry in this. Because the GOAT, that's a nice Arnold-esque side chest pose. But Martin has good symmetry from top to bottom. The pecs are thick, arms, the side quad is thick. And then you see Cbum, again, the chest is striated, not as thick. Arms are thinner, side quad is thinner. So he may have a little bit of imbalance between the upper and lower body. This is very hard, guys. This is very hard. So that's symmetry. And then muscularity obviously goes to Martin. This raw thickness, muscle mass, muscularity in the chest, arms as well, size to the quad. I give that to Martin. Conditioning. I would actually give the conditioning to Cbum on the side chest. The way the muscles popping and the lines and the cuts and the detail is there. So I give symmetry to Martin, muscularity to Martin, and then conditioning to Cbum, which gives Martin the edge in this pose. That is now 3-1 for Martin Fitzwater. All right, most muscular. Now, Cbum does actually hit the crab shot as well, but I couldn't find it on, they didn't have it on NPC Online photos. So we're just putting these two together. Martin wins this shot. I don't need to go through the symmetry on this one. It's kind of hard to do symmetry when you hit a crab shot. So this is one of Martin's best poses, is the most muscular. So the muscularity, the conditioning, the vascularity, everything looks complete and compact and correct in this pose. Cbum's arms a little thin here. The delts are smaller, obviously. He's just not packing enough muscle to win out this pose against Martin Fitzwater. So that is now 4-1 for Martin Fitzwater, guys, in my opinion. I threw this one in there because that's it. Those are the only comparison shots we have to see. Now, if they didn't have ab and thigh for Cbum, if there was an ab and thigh for Cbum versus Martin, I still think Martin would win the ab and thigh. Because if you're factoring in the symmetry, muscularity, and conditioning, and because Martin will always have that edge on Cbum because of the muscularity round. He's always going to win that. That's the edge when you put a classic guy against a open guy. They're always going to win that. They should for the most part. Right? So I put this pose up there because this is one of Cbum's go-to shots. And I said earlier in the video that Martin hits classic poses because he can get away with it because he has a tiny waist. You can't see Nick Walker hitting this pose. I mean, this is going to look terrible, right? You have to have the waist in order to hit this pose. So even with this classic pose, I see Cbum's winning this one for me. Even though the muscularity isn't there, the conditioning and the symmetry looks good for Cbum in this pose, but it also looks good for Martin. It's just not as wow factor that Cbum displays with this. So, but this isn't a mandatory pose, so it's not going to matter come showtime at the Prague Pro. So that's just right there is 4-1. And then what are the other? So the other one that we're missing was the ab and thigh. I gave that, so that's 5-1, right? So it's going, and the side tricep. Side tricep, since we don't have the comparison, since Cbum doesn't hit side triceps, that would probably go to Cbum. So that would go to Cbum because Martin needs to work on that pose. So that would be 2. So it'd be 5-2 for in favor of Martin Fitzwater. So guys, I'm gonna wrap it up there. Just wanted to do this quick video because this is gonna be an amazing show. The pay-per-view is gonna be off the hook. I'm gonna cover the show for you guys, and we're gonna watch it together. And this is gonna be, and then Sean CLARIDA is gonna be there, and maybe Akeem will drop in, maybe Brandeo will jump in. Even if any of those guys jump in, it's still between these two. Let's be honest, okay? Leave a comment below. Do you agree with the posing? Do you agree with my assessment and who's winning each pose? If not, give me your reasoning why. I love to have a discussion in the comments with you. I always reply to the comments and love your feedback. All right, guys, I appreciate you. Remember to like the video, subscribe, leave your comment below, and maybe I'll do another one with this. We'll see if I'll do one with Sean and Cbum, but I think this is pretty much where I'm going to leave it anyways. Anyways, catch you on the next one. I love you. Peace.